just real quickly to talk about Lucas while he's not here, because something that I do as like a really good friend and something that I like pride myself on is talking behind his back. Welcome back to another episode of JustOneFern. Aaron here to do a whole lot of talk about a whole lot of nothing. Lucas is gone. He's on vacation, I think. I don't know. I never know where he is. I have no idea where he is half the time. So yeah, that's cool. Anyway, so now that it's just me, I feel like there's some things that I could talk about that maybe Lucas doesn't know that much about and he wouldn't really be interested in. So one of those things would kind of be Love Island. Hello. If you're watching the finales this week, it will be, when this comes out, it'll be yesterday that the finale was. I am so excited. However, this season has kind of been a piece of shit. If I'm being honest with you, it's been bad. It's not been a good season. The people on the show kind of suck. They're all awful people. And none of them are actually there to be in love or be entertaining, I guess. I guess they just lost the ability to be entertaining. This show has just made me angry. Every night that I would watch it, I would just go to bed upset. So it's not going well. I don't know how they get ratings for shows. I don't know what that entails, but I would rate it a 0, maybe a 1. But the thing is, they still got me because I'm watching, right? So I guess they can't be that bad. However, compared to last season, we flew close to the sun. All right. We flew way too close. It was awesome. It was a perfect season. It was so fun. And I was loving it. This season, poop. Absolute poop. And yeah, so currently I guess I'm pulling for Iris and Pepe. Okay, I'm pulling for them. But anyway, if you stuck around this long, I'm interested to see how many people don't watch because Lucas isn't on. Because I know that he's a fan favorite. The fan favorite. But just real quickly to talk about Lucas while he's not here, because something that I do as like a really good friend and something that I like pride myself on is talking behind his back. And I just think that it's important to talk about his addiction to Instagram Reels. I know I've mentioned it a little bit before on the pod, but he is obsessed. Okay, it's bad. It's getting to a really bad point. It's gotten to a point where I will text Lucas in the morning, okay, around 9 a.m. I know he's not awake. And if he is, he's not really functioning yet. Lucas doesn't hit his function mode until like noon. So like I don't really expect an answer. However, it's gotten to the point with Instagram Reels where I will text him something at like 9 a.m. and at 9:30, I'll get sent an Instagram Reel from Lucas. And I'm like, could you respond to my text? That's something that really frustrates me with a lot of people, because people tend to compartmentalize their notifications and different things that they have on their phone. But to me, like if you have a moment to be posting, you probably have a moment to respond to a text, right? So I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. I know I'm definitely type A, so I get that. But yeah, he's just getting bad. We might need to have an intervention for him soon. But the thing is, I'd also have to include Max in the intervention, and it would just be me talking to both of them, being like, you guys are nuts. Okay? All they do is send Instagram Reels all day, every day. And they're the ones that are always like, TikTok sucks. Like TikTok is draining you. It's taking everything from us. But yet here they are on Instagram Reels, and they're just reeling it up. And it's really upsetting to me because I don't use Instagram Reels. And so every time they send me one, I'm like, I already seen half of these on TikTok. You guys are like 2 weeks late. I don't know. I can't get people to keep up with me, right? That's just not something that I can control. But yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the setup of this room. We only have like 4 or 5 more episodes left here because I will be moving out of this apartment. We all are moving out, I think. So it's kind of coming to a close. It's a big, end of an era, this kind of setup, this studio setup, if you will, which is just our living room. It's kind of coming to an end, and it's a little sad. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm really, looking forward to it and looking forward to the next steps and what, is going to happen. I really would like to eventually get to a spot where we can have like our own space that we can go to and record. That would be incredible. But everything is expensive and we don't make money from this still. So you know how it is. But something that I would like to ask everyone, if you will, and I feel weird asking our listeners to do things for us because you already do a lot by listening to it and watching. So we already appreciate you so much. Share the pod with somebody. Share it with a friend. Share it with a coworker. Share it with a family member. Share it with somebody that you think might enjoy it. And then tell them to share it. Kind of do like a telephone style thing, because we're trying to grow our audience, but it's really difficult to retain people sometimes when you're just like showing them clips. So it's harder to get them to watch the long form videos, which we really need them to do. So if you don't mind doing that, I think that'd be really cool. That would help us a lot. I would really appreciate it. We also have shirts out. We got merch out. So please go buy the shirts. If you want a shirt, support us. Hopefully we're going to do another live show soon. So that would be really cool in New York. But yeah. So I wanted to deep dive real quick a little bit more into my celiacs. I feel like this is something that, I feel bad talking about a lot with people because I don't know. I feel like I'm bombarding people or that, I'm being annoying when I talk about it because this like thing that I've been dealing with for so long has kind of been, the only thing I talk about when I'm not like doing the podcast or like, working or whatever. Like I am just really thinking about that and focusing on that. So, but I've learned so much more about celiacs and, I appreciate the comments from everybody saying, giving me well wishes one, but also like giving me suggestions of, things I can eat and stuff. And that's been really helpful. But I've actually I had a meeting or appointment, if you will, with a celiac specialist. And we kind of went over everything that I can't eat. And it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things that are just my diet. So like I gotta change a lot of stuff. And this is like I was talking, what was it? Is day 6? Yeah, day 6, I think, without gluten. I haven't noticed a ton. I do think I feel a little less bloated, which is huge. That was like a huge problem. But besides that, I haven't found a ton of changes, which is normal. They told me that it would probably take at minimum a month to really see the changes. And then, I'm going to have to keep doing like blood work. And then next year I'm going to have to get like another endoscopy done to see like how my intestines are growing back. Because apparently that's what happened, which is sick. I'm kind of like Wolverine. Who would have thought? But yeah, I just, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming the amount of information that I now have and that they kind of threw at me. But the main thing is that I have to just keep being annoying. Everywhere I go, everywhere I eat, you got to be annoying. And I hate that. I hate to be that person because when I go out to eat and if I order anything, say I order a burger and they bring me a plate of like mashed potatoes, I'd be like, yeah, perfect. This is my dinner now. I wouldn't send it back. Right. But now I have to be the guy to be like, I have a dietary restriction. I hate that. I hate that so much. It is like the worst part of this diagnosis in a way, which is in itself an insane thing to say. However, it is like, I hate being that person that has to say I have a dietary restriction. Now everyone's annoyed at the table and they're like, oh, fuck this guy. Are you kidding me? Now we got to, change everything for this guy, which is not true. And I think a lot of restaurants are very accommodating. But it's still just, I feel bad doing that, which is not good. I shouldn't feel bad about it, but I do. But yeah, I just think that with the whole change in celiacs, it's going to have to change my mental like view on eating, I think a lot. Not only with the actual food that I'm eating, but with like almost convincing myself that I like it more than my old diet, which is just not true. There are a lot of gluten-free options of things, but it's going to be like a mourning process of the things I can't eat anymore. Like just alone not being able to eat bread. Like I was cranking like 3 bagels a week at minimum. Okay. So like I was eating so much gluten. Okay. Sandwiches for lunch, pasta for dinner, like just an insane amount of gluten. So like no wonder I've been feeling like shit for so long. Um, but like convincing myself that these gluten-free options are like just as good. I don't know if that would like make me feel better about it or not, but yeah, it's such a huge shift. It's such a huge swing in my life and in my lifestyle. Changing your diet because you have to is really difficult, if I'm being honest. I know it's definitely not as difficult as changing it for just because you want to be healthier or whatever reason. Um, but like literally having to be like this will make you sick if you eat it is awful. I hate it so much. It's very difficult to overcome because I've spent the last 27 years eating gluten and now for the rest of my life I can't have it. So it's just a lot. I feel like I'm rambling right now because, well, I kind of am. This whole episode's a ramble because I don't have anyone to talk to. But I'm just kind of throwing this out into the universe. But if you have any suggestions, if you know of anyone that has celiacs, please tell them to listen to the pod because I'd like to, every once in a while do a little check-in with my celiacs, say things that I found that I really enjoy, kind of give updates on my health and how I'm doing, and also, how it's affecting me not eating gluten. Hopefully we'll start to see some positive results in the next few weeks. And I'm really excited about that. That is kind of the driving force is that I will feel better. And, as much as the diagnosis sucks, I think being able to feel better is the most important thing. And if I can do that, I will do that. But yeah, so if you have friends that have celiacs and also, or just are gluten-free and they want to comment their favorite food that they have. I know Mexican restaurants are the go-to. I think Jenna commented that, but also everyone that I've talked to has said like Mexican restaurants are your go-to because of like, corn tortillas and all that jazz. So I've eaten a lot of rice and beans and chicken the past few days. But I've been making it for the most part. But thank God Mexican food is on the table because that would have been really difficult to get rid of, I think. But yeah, so that's just kind of where I'm at. I have to like do a bunch of blood work all the time to like make sure, because apparently celiacs can like, one, it can shrink your bone mass. You're highly susceptible to pneumonia. It can cause anemia. You can be like, have really bad vitamin deficiencies. So basically my body is just fucked, just screwed. My body has been being screwed for years and I just didn't know about it. It makes a lot of sense looking back and how shitty I would feel after eating gluten. But I never kind of put that to gluten because I'm not gonna lie, my diet was not great. So I would just think like, okay, I'm just eating fatty food, so I just feel shit because of that. But I think it was mostly because of the gluten. So yeah, big shift in my life. I just kind of wanted to dive more into it now that it's not, Lucas and Max aren't here because I feel bad like continuing to talk about it all the time. But this is just, it's a big thing. It's a big shift in my life, and it's a big change for me and for a lot of people in my life. Like I now when I hang out with people, I have to like ask, like, is there going to be options for me? Do I need to bring something? How should I prepare for this if we're going out to eat or if we're like, stopping somewhere to get snacks? If I'm going to a party, do I need to bring my own snacks? Because are there going to be snacks that I can eat there? So just those things I have to be very wary of and, kind of proactive about, which is good. I'm able to do that. But, again, I just hate being annoying, and that's being annoying. So anyway, yeah, I think I'm going to continue to do this and kind of catch up with everybody and, give updates on my health because I think it's really important. I've kind of disregarded it for the pod for the past like few years because it's honestly been pretty difficult to, deal with and discuss. But I feel like it would help me a lot to talk about it. So I think this is great. And I do want to talk about it more when Lucas is here because he's had some great insight and he's the best. He's been so great with like, he's been researching things and like reaching out about stuff. And it's, very helpful, and I appreciate him, and that's why he's so important in my life. And I hate when we have to skip a week or something because I love getting to chat with Lucas all the time. We're coming up on 5 years of the pod, which is insane. It'll be 5 years in November, and that to me is just mind blowing. Lucas and I were always good friends in college, but I wouldn't say we were like super close, like best friends kind of deal. But definitely nowadays, for sure. And the podcast definitely created that relationship with us. So I'm really excited. I think we're gonna do something really big for 5 years. I think it's a huge milestone. Regardless of our growth or lack thereof, honestly, in the internet. I think it's a really amazing accomplishment that the two of us have gone this long and still done the show every week. Obviously, give or take some weeks where we couldn't do it, but like we've still persisted. So it's I don't know. It's so crazy to me. And then like at the end, it's 5 years. We're switching up to a new studio or a new spot to record the podcast. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited for the next step. I also wanted to say, thank you to everyone that has watched the past 5 years. It has meant so much to us. Everyone is so amazing. And the people that we've, grown with and the people we've met through the show, especially in the early days when we were doing interviews, like it was just really cool to see. But now that we're going to be in a space that will be more of, our own, I would kind of feel more comfortable doing interviews now. So I am excited to kind of get back into doing that because that was something that I really enjoyed doing as well. And I know Lucas did as well. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching and listening. And we love you very much. And every time we do something, we think about how it's gonna, come across to everybody. So like we make sure that we do our best. Sometimes we go off the rails, but I think it's always, always good fun. Something I really want to talk about real quick because Lucas probably won't give a shit about this, but Justin Bieber's new album, shockingly really good. Okay, blew me away. I was expecting nothing. It's called Swag. Is it 2012 again? I was using Swag in like high school, not ironically, which is not good, but just saying Swag because I meant it. I thought I had it. You don't, Aaron. But I guess Justin Bieber has Swag, but it's just such a weird name. And then you listen to the album and it's not at all what I expected in the slightest. I was expecting like classic Bieber mixed with like current hip hop trends. But this is like, if you know Dijon, the artist, producer, musician, he produced this album for Justin. And to me, it's a Dijon album using Justin Bieber's voice. Kind of like I talked about a few years ago, 2 years ago, I think, when the Jonas Brothers released The Album. It's called The Album. John Bellion produced that. And I remember saying it's a John Bellion record using the Jonas Brothers voices as his instruments. This is what Dijon did for this Bieber album. And it's really cool that to me, this is now the era of the producer. I think the producer is now basically the art. Like the artist is an instrument and the producer is writing everything and like making everything sound the way they want it to. Bellion's doing this, Antonoff's doing this, Dijon is doing this. Like the whole time I was like, oh my God, this album is so good. And then I realized it's not really because of Bieber that it's good. It's because of Dijon that it's good. So it's really crazy to like hear the first two songs of an album when there were no song credits or anything yet because it was a surprise release. Nobody knew it was going to come out. And he released it. And I listened to the first two songs and I was like, this has to be produced by Dijon. It can't not be. It sounds just like The Dressed and like his album's production. And of course it is. Dijon's on a record on the album. So it's really good. If you like kind of alt pop, crunchy, reverby, spacey songs, vocals, with kind of like almost crunchy analog-y beats. You'll like it. It's really good. I kind of like the style. It's not Justin Bieber's pop, normal pop stuff that he's always done. This is like something very different, which I was pleasantly surprised with. But yeah, I think you would enjoy it if you like that kind of stuff. Go listen to The Dress by Dijon first, okay, and then go listen to Justin Bieber's album, because you'll have a much better understanding of the musical standpoint they're coming from. Because it's very clear that I was going back and forth on Twitter with Kelly Keegs. It was actually really nice, to be honest, kind of a nice conversation, where we were going back and forth about how she was like, the production ruined this album. And I was like, I don't think it did. I love Dijon's production, right? And if you don't know Dijon's production, I can see this album being jarring as a Bieber fan, because usually Justin Bieber's music is very his vocals forward, and the beats kind of are his background. The voice is his main thing. This is almost like he is intertwined into the mix, and his voice is not the main focal point, which is something Dijon does. And so that makes a lot of sense that's how the sound is in the album. But we were going back and forth, and it makes a lot of sense. Like, a lot of Bieber fans are upset because this is not your typical Justin Bieber. Like, people want, their Justin Bieber, Justice, Sorry, those kind of things, those kind of songs, those sounds. But this one is such a deviation from that. It literally like immediately shifts into something else. And I don't think people were expecting it or, open to it, really. So it's very interesting. And I think there's a lot of like interludes with like Drewski that are really funny to me personally. But a lot of people were like, what the hell is this? Is this like a comedy album? Like, is this whole album a joke? So I think that wasn't great. Like, that response to me was not great, because I can see how if you were like, I don't like these songs, and then there's these comedy parts in it, like, that takes away from the value of those songs. But I personally loved it. I thought it was great. If you haven't listened to it, I recommend listening to a few songs. Listen to Daisies mainly. It's really good. But again, go listen to The Dress by Dijon first, because that's what the album is. Anyway, so that's all I got for this week. Just wanted to do a little something. Just needed to put an episode out for the week. Didn't really have much planned, but just wanted to get something out there, because I don't like when we skip a week. It makes me feel like we're, losing track of our momentum. So I wanted to really quickly do, just a little something for everybody. So sorry that it's a short episode. Sorry it's just me, and that I don't have a lot, but just needed to get something out there just for everybody. And, thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet and you're listening, I don't know what you're doing. But we love you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.